Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. DayZ is a multiplayer-only survival video game developed and published by Bohemia Interactive. It is available on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. The game was initially released as part of Steam's Early Access program in 2013 and was officially released in December 2018. DayZ is a large-scale open-world survival sandbox game where players follow a single goal: to survive as long as they can, by all means necessary. The game has a separate player base and servers for each platform and does not support cross-platform play.
We're in a shitstorm, brother, and the forecast ain't about to change anytime soon. Society has fallen. Now it's every man for himself. Stay alive.
The Forest is an open-world survival horror game developed and published by Night Games. The game takes place on a remote, heavily forested peninsula, where the player character Eric LeBlanc must fight off cannibalistic monsters while searching for his son Timmy, after a plane crash. The game features survival gameplay where players control Eric LeBlanc and must survive on a forested peninsula in search of his son Timmy after a devastating plane crash. Players must survive by creating shelter, weapons, and other survival tools. The game is available on PC and on the PlayStation Store for the PS4. The game was inspired by various survival games and horror films, and the development of The Forest began in 2013. The Forest was in an alpha stage and had been released to the public as an early access game in Steam on May 2014. The game was officially released on April 2018. Alien Isolation is a first-person survival horror game developed by Creative Assembly and published by Sega for the PlayStation 3 through 5, Xbox 360 through Series X, and PC. The game was released on October 7, 2014. The game is set on a decommissioned trading station on the fringes of space, and players control Amanda Ripley, Ellen Ripley's daughter, who is on a mission to unravel the truth behind her mother's disappearance. The game features stealth and survival horror gameplay, requiring the player to avoid, outsmart, and fight enemies with tools such as a motion tracker and flamethrower. The game was designed to resemble the original Alien film rather than its more action-oriented 1986 sequel Aliens, and features a similar lo-fi, 1970s vision of what the future could look like.
We don't have to do this.
The Last of Us Part 1 is an action-adventure survival horror video game developed by Naughty Dog and PlayStation Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It is a remake of the 2013 game The Last of Us and its standalone expansion Left Behind. The single-player story follows a hardened survivor Joel and an immune teenager Ellie crossing across a post-apocalyptic United States in order to find a group called the Fireflies, who would be able to create a cure against the disease by studying Ellie's immunity. The game was released on September 2, 2022, for PlayStation 5 and is scheduled for release on PC on March 28, 2023. Outlast is a first-person survival horror video game developed and published by Red Barrels. The game revolves around a freelance investigative journalist, Miles Upshur, who decides to investigate a remote psychiatric hospital named Mount Massive Asylum, located deep in the mountains of Lake County, Colorado. The game makes heavy use of traditional jump scares and audio cues, which alert the player if an enemy has seen them. Outlast was released on September 4, 2013, for PC, PlayStation 4 on February 4, 2014, and for Xbox One on June 18, 2014. Resident Evil is a survival horror video game franchise created by Shinji Mikami and Takuro Fujiwara and owned by Capcom. The first Resident Evil game was released in 1996, and the most recent title is Resident Evil 4, which was released in 2023. Resident Evil 0 is the 5th game released in the series but the first chronologically. It takes place just before the events of Resident Evil, with special tactics and rescue service. The Resident Evil Wiki is a major database focused on Capcom's Resident Evil franchise, known as Biohazard in Japan. The wiki provides information on the games, lore, and other topics related to the franchise. Den of Geek has a Resident Evil timeline in chronological order, which includes the games and some spin-offs but ignores games that are largely irrelevant to the timeline.
What is it?
Look out! It's a monster!
Let me take care of it! What the hell is this thing?
The Evil Within 2 is a survival horror video game developed by Tango Gameworks and published by Bethesda Softworks for PlayStation 4, PC, and Xbox One. It was released worldwide in October 2017 and is the sequel to 2014's The Evil Within. The game features third-person survival horror shooter gameplay with light RPG elements, where players need to craft their own ammo and healing items, gather resources, and upgrade their weapons and skills. The game received positive reviews for its ambitious, genuinely tense, and at times brutally difficult experience.